Welcome to the Finally Heard podcast, where it is attractive to be authentic. I'm your girl E, and here you can find your herd of people who have been labeled or personally identified with being the black sheep of their families or friend groups. This is a safe space where you can be finally here, finally happy, and finally heard. Welcome to episode 10, everybody. This episode is entitled I Sheep You Not. You like that?
I like that.
I sheep you not, because I have a lot to go over in this episode.
Yes, Lord.
And I know you guys are looking to my immediate right and going, who is this? So first and foremost, I want to say that my co-host L'Oreal is taking a much needed break over the summer months. And so we love her and we wish her well. And we say, rest up, girl, because we'll see you in the fall.
Okay.
Amen. But in the meantime, this is one of my wonderful friends, Mo. Everybody say, hey, Mo.
Hey, y'all. Hey, what's going on, girl?
Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And this summer, we are going to have podcast hosts, guest hosts on the show to make sure that we are continuing to produce content for you all. So Mo is actually a podcast host herself. We met on a podcast.
Yes.
Dare we say the name?
No, we should.
Okay. And we went from podcast host to actually really good friends. And she is well versed in the podcast world and the hosting world, and taught me a thing or two as I was a virgin in the space.
I'm still learning every day, girl.
And she is a wife and a mother of two. And her babies are so cute. They look like they should be Gerber babies.
Oh, girl, chickpea.
Hello.
I think it's a chickpea.
Gerber don't ever call us, do they?
At all.
It's ghetto. And also an educator.
Yes.
So we can have good conversations about our school systems and lack thereof. And if you want to rant on that soapbox, you are more than welcome to do that here.
Okay. Good to know.
So say hi to the people, Mo.
Hey, people. I'm so excited to be here. Just wanted to be 100% myself with my good girlfriend.
Hey.
I think it's going to be a good time. So I'm excited to see what lies ahead.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we are going to get right into the show. So first of all, I have to make my announcement.
Oh, snap.
I am Erica Howell.
Say it with your chest.
BSHA.
Okay.
Which is a Bachelor's of Health Administration.
Okay.
Bachelor of Science in Health Administration. Comma, PMP.
Yes.
Which is my project management certificate.
Okay, now.
Comma, MBA.
Toss the hair. You got to toss the hair. Yeah.
Baby, because I got that Master's of Business Administration under my belt this weekend, baby.
Okay.
And I am just excited.
Okay. Yes. I love that for you, sis.
Now, let me tell y'all my story real quick. I graduated from high school 20 years ago. 2004.
Ooh.
Go Pharaohs. Communication Media Arts High School in Detroit, Michigan.
That's a mouthful.
Boom. And then graduated from Eastern Michigan University.
Go Eagles.
Go Eagles. Yeah. In 2014, 10 years later. And then graduated with my MBA 10 years later. So what is the Lord trying to say to me today?
Keep on keeping on.
It's the fours, it's the tens, it's all types of numerology, which is biblical, and you can't take it from us. All right?
Okay. Period.
Okay. So I just want to encourage anybody out there who is on an educational journey, just keep going. Nobody is going to ask me what year I graduated in after this year.
Right.
Nobody
Right.
cares. Nobody cares when I got my high school diploma. Nobody cares when I got my bachelor's degree, my graduate certification, my project management certification. All they care about is them letters after your name.
I know that's right.
So just keep going. Keep going. You can do it. If I can do it with 2 children and a husband and a disabled father and all and Crohn's disease and all the other things that go on from the day to day, anybody can do it. Go University of Phoenix.
You ever thought about being a teacher?
Absolutely not.
Like college level?
Oh, I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't stand kids.
For all the shit.
I'd rather. Wait, my friend said the other day, she said, I'd rather poop in my hands and clap. I died.
What? Dang, is it that bad? Is it really that bad?
Yes, I would never go into a classroom. I would go to a homeless shelter before I became a teacher in the classroom.
I think you would be a good like high school teacher. College level.
High school. I don't know. High school, it depends on the culture of the school. Because if you want to fight, I fight. So I can't be that teacher to go into like the inner city school community and decide to make a difference. I am no Dr. Clark. That's not me. I can't do it. However, one of my friends actually sent me a post for a job offering for a college professor, like a part-time college professor to teach project management courses.
I think that'll be good on you, sis. I really do.
I might think about it. I didn't know with a master's degree that you can teach college.
Girl,
like that's all they need. They don't need no other certification or nothing else.
Community colleges too.
Yeah. And they like, oh, you got a master's degree? Come on in. Teach this class.
And you ain't gotta. You can do it part time. Come in, do it once a week.
Mm-hmm.
You could be that teacher that don't give a whole bunch of homework, so you got a little less work.
Because who's grading?
For what?
Not me. You better do these discussion questions.
Not this guy.
And get on out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I'll think about it. Would you?
I don't know.
How you gonna volunteer me and then don't want to?
I mean, we two different people.
I
mean, we two different people.
I sheep you not.
That's not my testimony. I'm sorry. That's not my testimony because, like you, I fight too.
Yeah. No.
I would hate for a child to have to go home and tell their mom, "Hey, Miss Mo punched me in my chest," and I saw the Lord.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it coming. And she told me, she yelled out some street name and just punched me. And
Joy Road, nigga.
12. Star Kirk 12. I didn't see it coming. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I stick to my babies. I teach babies, before they get to learning how to talk back for real.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Well, I just want to say I'm excited.
Yes, I'm excited for you.
I'm excited to be done. I've been in school. I've been in higher education for 20 years. Ooh, I'm tired.
Period.
But I'm done.
Yes, I'm done. What are you doing?
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. So on to our first segment, which I have named Hillside Hits, which is basically our song of the week.
Yeah.
And it is our neurodivergent corner where we talk about how our brains work with ADHD. And I personally always have a song playing in my head. It's like a soundtrack.
What's yours?
I wake up with songs. Today, specifically, it is, and I don't know why, Pick Up Your Feelings by Jasmine Sullivan. And it's my jam, but I have no, I don't feel that way. It's in my head. Yeah.
It don't have to have a motive.
But it's my jam though.
Right.
And I be singing it with my chest like I'm talking to somebody.
Man, sometimes some of them, pretty much anything she makes is gold for me.
And it's nothing you can do to not feel it. Even if you're not personally going through that, when you sing it, you be like, hey, yeah. You know what other song does that? Irreplaceable by Beyonce.
You must not know.
Yeah.
I can find another you in a minute.
And don't be wanting to hit nobody else. But it just be, I just want to remind you.
Right.
The taxi can be outside.
You forgot.
Exactly. What's your song this week?
Okay, so it's been like a month. And living rent free.
You've had this song in your head for a month?
A month.
Oh.
I am like washing dishes, cleaning the house, studying,
Uh-huh.
and I'm humming like do, 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 do. Whoa! Come on. And I like do it throughout the day. Just in case y'all know what that is, that's Return of the Mac. I don't know why Return of the Mac is my hit, because clearly I ain't returning to no Mackin'. Ain't never been a Mac, but still.
Did you go to like a 90s party
I
or
don't
something?
know.
Where'd it come
I
from?
think so. What I think happened, either I was asleep and the TV was on and it came on TV, but I can't think of no channel I was watching. I was on. I was sleeping. I don't know, but it just at first it started as a whisper, and then I'm just at school with my little students, and I just hummed it one day. I was changing a diaper at school.
Oh.
Because they're that little.
Wow.
So I was changing the diaper, and I'm just changing this diaper one.
That is so funny.
That's my jam.
You know what that reminds me of? Did you ever fall asleep with BET on by mistake?
I had.
And then woke up to
the late night. Ooh. No, you know what? I fell asleep with that on. I was at a friend's house, and I was in the guest bedroom sleep, and I left the TV on because I'm secretly afraid of the dark or whatever, but that's another story for another time.
Oh.
So BT on, and I guess mom was on her way to the bathroom, and it was the late night shows on. So then she peeked in on me.
BT Uncut After Dark, whatever it used to be called.
She came poking. Everything all right? And I had just woke up. I just happened to open my eyes, and then I look at her, then I look at the TV, and I'm like, oh no, and I made it worse because I just had this like deer in the headlights look.
Guilty.
I look so guilty. So yeah,
that is so funny.
Girl.
Yeah, I what's that man's name? I don't even remember his name, but he used to buy like the 3 a.m. slot on BT. He was a preacher, and he would always be like, "What God?" That nigga used to make me so mad.
Why are you screaming at Jesus in the middle of the night?
He used to. First of all, who cares about Jesus at 3 a.m.? I mean, I love him. Don't get me wrong. But why are you hollering at me at 3 a.m.? First of all,
I'm sure God is like, can this wait till morning?
Hello. Second of all, why are you screaming at a computer screen? Like, you don't have an audience. What are you yelling at? He used to wake me, and I'm talking about, I used to fall asleep faithfully. I used to work at Home Depot when I went to Eastern, and I worked until 11. I closed every night. It was 4 to 11. And I would get home, take a shower, eat something real quick, and I would like watch BET. But all faithfully every night I fell asleep to it, and every night he woke me up at 3 a.m. So the 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock was the you remember when they used to be like, buy this DVD, buy this CD, and it would be like the love song, Here 20. And Now.
Oh my God.
I promise to love faithfully. That used to wake me up the first time. And then the second time would be, and God.
Oh my God.
So or it was Peter Popoff trying to get you to buy that Miracle Spring Water. Do you remember?
Oh, in a little bitty. Yeah. Oh my!
I knew he was a crook when I asked for the spring water. He got me one time. I ordered the spring water, and then the next time he was like, "Yeah, burn this candle, take the ashes, sprinkle the ashes on the piece of paper, and put your thumbprint on it." I said, "So you can rob me?" I said, "Oh no, Peter Popoff."
I'm trying to remember why I saw that in the back.
Yeah, no, he was getting people left and right. It was great though. What
a time to be alive.
Oh, to be young again.
Being grown is ghetto.
It's so ghetto.
It's so ghetto. I rated 1 star. Would not recommend.
Take me back.
First of all, my mama told me to stay in the child's place.
She did.
I'm still looking for direction. I want my house. This is ghetto.
It's ghetto.
No, thank you.
Yep. So here we are.
Yeah.
All right. So this week's What the Flop?
Ooh, say it again.
What the flop? She hit me with the beatbox.
She never had. was just waiting on you.
All right. So our What the Flock segment is something that happened to you this week that really just chapped your mind. And it really just ticked you off. And this is our session in which we vent.
Yes.
So what was your What the Flock this week, Mo?
So I went to go see a comedian with my husband.
With your husband?
With my husband.
Oh, okay.
He's just not a husband. He's my boyfriend husband.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So we went on a date and haven't been on a very long time because of children and working and stuff in school. So anywho, we go to this comedy show, and as we're entering in downtown Detroit, we're going inside and they're telling us where we're going to sit. And we got there pretty early. We're at the front of the line. So it's like seats everywhere the moment we walk in. And they're like, yeah, you sit up here by the front of the stage. We're like, yeah, no, we're not going to sit by the stage, set ourselves up for failure. Because it'll be my luck. But
you get roasted.
I get roasted. What are those on your feet? Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? I didn't come there for that energy. So I'm like, let me sit like in the middle or whatever. So he told me if I didn't want to sit where he told me to sit, I could wait out in the lobby.
What? Isn't that the point of showing up early so I can pick my seat?
Period. That's what I figured. So I don't have to worry about standing and things like that.
Right.
So I said, yeah, I'm not doing that either. So you can go drink a tall glass of bleach. I'm gonna sit there. I want to sit. So my husband, like, I'm so glad he was on the same sheet of music I was, because he was just like, yeah, we're not doing that. So we went to a corner or in the back and just kind of waited until the seats up front filled, so that when we finally got back in line, we didn't have no choice but to sit where we wanted.
Right.
So it worked out pretty good. So I just didn't appreciate paying for my seats and being told, oh, you don't have to pick. You don't have to pick your seat. You just have to pay your ticket to get in the room.
Right.
And then being told where we could sit.
Yeah.
Like, no.
That is hilarious.
What about you?
A tall glass of bleach is...
He can. A cold glass with ice.
It's giving Trump. Kill coronavirus.
Be purified.
And drink some bleach. We do not recommend that. By
Please don't drink bleach.
That. It does not cure corona. So mine is so I graduated yesterday, right?
Whoop whoop.
And we were at what we know as Cobo Hall, but it's now Huntington Place in Detroit. It's a large conference center in Detroit, the largest in Detroit.
I'm still calling Cobo.
They're changing all the names to everything downtown. It's very confusing. You don't know what to look up. So we go down there, and obviously, like, there's an entrance for the graduates, and then there's an entrance for general admission seating, right? And so I say bye to my family members. They go left, I go right. Cool. Get in there. Everything is super organized. Check in here, move here. You need help putting your hood on. Go to this station. Cool. So then they told us to wear comfortable shoes, but they also said if for whatever reason you don't want to wear comfortable shoes, we're going to have you in a holding room. We won't call you out to line up until we're absolutely ready, and then we're going to walk straight into the ceremony room and be seated, and then you're just going from seat to seat. So wear shoes you can walk in, but they don't necessarily have to be comfortable because cool. Great. So you get there, and it's like a room for the doctoral candidates, and a room for the masters, and a room for bachelor's and associate's degrees and certificates. Cool. There's also a DJ who is blackety black. Okay. But God. He's also trying to play infused music as he sees white people walking in, right? So he's playing Kendrick Lamar and Nicki Minaj, and then Coldplay. So we like, what are you doing? Like, there are songs that everybody loves, like Bruno Mars, you know what I'm saying? Like, just stay there. You ain't gotta play ping pong back and forth.
Modern pop in the same zone.
Right. So then they're like, all right, guys. Now, mind you, ceremony starts at 3:30. It's like 3:25. They're like, all right, guys, we lining up. Everybody line up. Cool. So we go out in the hallway, we line up. And then
How long y'all wait?
we waited 40 minutes.
Oh no. My dog's been barking.
And when I tell you, I had on comfortable shoes and was looking like Bambi trying to get down that hallway. Fresh deer legs. Like it was such a mess. Meanwhile, we're standing in line, and these people are like, do not get out of line. Do not break line. You have to stay in line. Remember the person in front of you. It's going to go quick when we start walking, blah, blah, blah. The DJ decides that he wants everybody to swing.
Did people start swinging too?
Yes.
Did you do it?
In my spot, because what you're not about to do is tell me I can't walk because I didn't follow directions.
I'm a surf ride.
So I'm like,
keep it cute.
Keep it cute. And also, I couldn't feel my feet. So how good can you really swag surf when your knees and your ankles are not working, right? I was just so ticked because if y'all knew y'all wasn't ready, y'all could have left us in the room with the seats. You know what I'm saying? And we was thirsty. And we didn't have enough time to get water. It was water out there, but it was like the water dispenser. And we didn't have enough time to get it because they was like, all right, y'all, we gotta line up, we gotta go. And we looked at the clock like, oh, it really is time to go.
Yeah.
So, let's line up. We'll bypass the water. Hopefully somebody give me some water in a minute. Child, we was in there dying to slow death, and it was hot. Yesterday was and it's cold today. I don't understand what's going on in Michigan. Yesterday it was 88 degrees, and the humidity was on hell. It was so hot, like people were about to pass out. It was so hot, and they were just like, "Give us 2 minutes."
I had at the comedy show. It was an elderly lady who was waiting to get in, and she ended up having to sit out. It was really hot.
Yeah.
And that was we were inside with air conditioning, but we were so close to the door, it was too hot for her. So Yeah.
So
that's Michigan weather.
But I do want to say on the flip side to that, because that was my what the flock moment. We did have a young lady, and by young, I use that word loosely in her case, because she probably was about 60. Yeah. And she was in a wheelchair. And, so they were like, okay, we're going to put you at the back of the line for your degree program so that we can wheel you up on stage, because we don't want it. We had to go up a ramp, shake a hand, walk downstairs.
Okay.
And so they're like, obviously, we can't get your wheelchair down the stairs, so we're going to make you last so we can roll you back down the ramp without messing up traffic.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. She was like, I'm going to walk. And we were like, baby, but your wheelchair. And she said, no. I worked for this, so I'm going to walk.
Shout out to her, but at the same time, did she?
She walked. She walked. They parked her wheelchair on the ramp, and she walked. It took her a hot 20 minutes. But we stood up and we cheered for that.
I would have too.
And almost cried.
I would have too.
Because she was like, and she shook his hand and took her pic.
Right.
And then she looked back at them like, if y'all don't go grab that wheelchair, I kill you.
I said I was gonna walk this far.
I'm not walking back. But yep. And then there was another graduate who got his degree and then passed away. So his sister came and accepted his degree.
Oh, no.
And when I tell you, it wasn't a dry eye in the place. And they rushed past it real quick. Like they were like, they announced his name, and then they were like, accepting his degree on his behalf is his sister so-and-so. And she didn't have no cap and gown on. She was plain dressed. So everybody kind of looked up there and like, wait, what happened? And she just started crying.
Oh, no.
And everybody went, oh.
So did they say what happened to him? Was he sick?
No, they didn't say. They just was like, he ain't here. And by her tears, we figured out why he wasn't here, because he had met his maker. And so, she was accepting his degree on his behalf. So, yeah, but yesterday was funny. It was hot, though.
Yeah.
It was super hot. So, yes. So, moving right along.
Yeah.
We're going to go right into Sheep Happens, because it's a long one today. Sheep Happens is our segment in which we discuss something that I found on the internet, and then we talk about it as a family. So this is your cue to leave your comments, questions, concerns, or if you have a story, whether personal or something that you found that you want us to discuss on the podcast, feel free to submit that to admin@finallyheard.com.
Get your
So,
popcorn ready.
baby, this one is a long one, so hold tight. Amen. All right. So I'm gonna read the story and then give it a little bit of context. Okay. So this is the story is from the perspective of a young lady,
Okay.
and she is married, and she's speaking about her and her husband's relationship. We have to clarify that in these times. All right. So I am a 28-year-old female married to a 30-year-old male. Um, and my husband tightens the jar lids of the jars in our home. I am trying to figure out if this is the problem or if there's something deeper. I'm ready for a divorce. First, it started with just things that he used, and then over time, it became every glass jar with a metal lid. He tightened them so much I couldn't open them without assistance. It wasn't a huge deal if he was there, but if I was alone, it was so annoying. More times than I can count, I've opened a new jar of something because I just couldn't get the old jar open. It's been a recurring cycle for over the past 5 years. It's just a thing that would escalate until I had a major meltdown and freaked out, screaming, frustrated, and seemingly crazy because it's just a lid. Then it would get better for a while, then it would slowly become an issue again, just getting worse and worse until I reach a breaking point again. Sometimes I literally feel insane for being so upset over jar lids. He initially claimed that he did it to keep food fresh. After many arguments about it and my insistence that I don't believe it keeps anything fresh, even if it does make things last longer, I don't care that much. Even if it means I don't care enough if it means that I can't eat my food when I want to. I'll just replace things that go bad because they are closed normally. Then the excuse became it's just a habit. He tightened lids a few times over the years, and he's really, oh wait, yeah, and he's really pondered if I was crazy. I've really pondered if I'm crazy or if my husband was over tightening the jar lids on purpose.
Mhm.
He's oh, so something cut off. Oh, the neighbor came over because he was tightening the lids. The husband was tightening the lids, and he went out of town. And the neighbor came over. Something cut off, so I'm going to give you context. The neighbor came over and tried to untighten all the lids in the refrigerator. He could get all of the lids except four. So he told the young lady, I'm going to take them back to my house and get some tools
Mhm.
to open them. So um, he was able to open all but one with the tools. Now, three of them were so tight, he needed industrial tools to open them. This is the neighbor. So on the fourth lid, the tools wouldn't even open them. So he came back apologizing, saying I had to break the jar
Yeah.
to get the contents out, and glass got in it. It wasn't salvageable, whatever. So back to the story. So the neighbor said, this is intentional.
Yeah.
It was every jar, and I'm sure he doesn't regularly use hot pepper paste or mango puree or or any of your other fancy cooking items. Then he held up two jars that he absolutely couldn't open and said, I don't know why he's doing this, but this is not an accident. So after he left, I locked the door and sat on my kitchen floor and I cried. Then I felt hot and lightheaded. I vomited in the trash can. My chest hurt so bad, it crossed my mind that I might be having a heart attack. I thought about calling an ambulance, but sat back down on my kitchen floor instead, okay, with dying if it was a heart attack. Later, the neighbor came back with the open jar of hot fudge and apologized that he couldn't save the figs. He said he broke the jar trying to get it open. He also apologized for what he said earlier about my husband doing it on purpose, and I assured him that it was okay. I couldn't sleep that night. I tossed and turned all night. I called out of work, and by 10 a.m., I realized that I could not stay with my husband any longer. And so I went and filed for divorce. He still won't admit that he tightened the lids on purpose. He suggested that we go to marriage counseling, but I've refused. There is no point. I just literally can't get past the darn jar lids. I feel a little bit crazy about that. I have no idea why he would have tightened every jar lid so tightly that I couldn't open it. He has given me no reason. He still won't even admit that he did it on purpose. But the hot pepper paste in the back of the fridge is what got me. I use it only when I make Indian food. It's behind all the other things. He's never used it himself. And it's nothing you could put in food without cooking it. The pepper paste could not have been an accident. It just couldn't. Maybe he put mango puree on his toast or in his oatmeal, but the pepper paste couldn't have been an accident, and I can't get over it. That's what my life has come to. I'm getting a divorce because the lid on my hot pepper paste was too tight. If it had been every jar except that one, maybe I could try. I could have a sliver of doubt. I could do something else, but I just can't get past the hot pepper paste. Most of our friends and family either think I'm crazy or an AH. I don't know what an AH is.
Asshole.
Oh, asshole. Sorry. But what do you think? She posted this on Reddit. So she is in a quandary. I wish I knew her name so we could address her
Yes.
specifically. That's really intense, Mo. What are your thoughts
How
on
long? How long have they been married?
5 years? And he did it while he was dating her, but he did it after they moved in together, not when he was living alone.
Wait, so when she would come and visit him, she would notice that his jars weren't like that. You said.
Correct.
Okay, so 5 years is a nice amount. It's a stretch. So I have to agree that it's intentional. But if everything else is good,
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was the part that I didn't. That must have got cut off. She said there's nothing else wrong in the marriage. Their sex life is good. Their communication otherwise is great. She's never had any other problems, no infidelities, nothing like that. The only issue that has, and they don't have any children, but the only issue that has risen in those 5 years is the over tightening of the jar lids.
maybe she can get some jars that ain't the type you screw off, like the mason jars where it's like a latch. You flip it up
Mm-hmm.
and it opens. Like maybe she can just get different jars where he can't tighten.
Right. But do you think
I think it's intentional too.
but do you think that it's worth a divorce?
No, not at me. If everything else is good, like I think it's a way around it. I would try to, if it was in my situation, if everything was good, I literally this is the only problem. I would probably obviously try to find a way around it.
Mm-hmm.
A very passive way around it.
Yeah.
Where I probably wouldn't even tell him that it's bothering me. I would try to figure out a way where it's no longer a problem or something that's inconveniencing me.
Mm-hmm.
And if that don't work, then we would have to have a talk. And seriously, you're gonna have to stop doing this to all the jars, or we're gonna have a bigger problem.
Yeah.
But who's to say she didn't already do that? So.
She said that she would talk to him about it, and when she would like have a breakdown about it, he would stop for a little while and then go back to doing it. So she's had the conversation with him.
Yeah.
I think for me, this is gonna sound really bad. I would go to counseling, but I would go to counseling to prove a point. I wouldn't go to counseling trying to get a result.
Try to fix it.
I would go to counseling because I want you, in order for me to stay at that point, you would have to admit to me that you have some type of fear about food scarcity, and you grew up poor, and you just have a thing that you need to work out about food going bad, or there has to be some type of underlying issue, because if you're doing this to make me crazy,
Yeah.
how can I trust you when you will do like this? Is so trivial, but
Mhm.
it's not true. I feel like in situations like this, everybody leans on the woman. Like,
Yeah.
you're being trivial for getting a divorce over a Titan jar, right? But if I ask you not to do something
Yeah.
and you're still doing it, then aren't you the one being trivial?
Is this something that I'm doing to make you feel unneeded in such a way where you feel like you have to do this? Like, am I saying, oh, thank you so much, I appreciate you enough? Or
Mm-hmm.
do you feel like, I don't know, I just,
And that's what I would need to know in
yeah,
therapy.
the therapy would, I guess, uncover that.
But if he came out of therapy like F you in them jars, I'm following.
And I should.
I'm following because I, there is no worse feeling than feeling like you're crazy,
Yeah.
especially within a marriage. Like,
Mhm.
I know this is happening. Nobody is acknowledging it inside or outside of the
Right.
marriage. And everybody is making me feel like I'm crazy. Like, we need to go to therapy.
I don't know. I just, she seemed like she feel pretty strongly about it. So, I mean,
Well, I mean, put yourself in those shoes. Do you feel like if you were her and I'm over the course of 5 years, you've asked them not to do it, you have gotten the neighbor, you've gone so far as
yeah.
the neighbor is now opening your jars for you. And the neighbor is like, you're doing this on purpose, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? What's your next play?
I
You've
would just,
talked to
like I
him
said, I
about
would
it.
just find a way around it where I wouldn't have no more jars that he could lock me out of. And that would be probably the end of it. But I mean, like, that's by that song by R. Kelly, when a woman fed up, ain't nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
When you fed up, you don't really care about who on your team, who agree with you, who think you're
Yeah.
being crazy. When you're really fed up
Yeah.
and done,
It just
like,
is what it is.
done, like,
Yeah.
you don't care. Like, I'll be crazy. If that's what this means, I'll be crazy. But I'm done.
Yeah, that's
I'm
very
not
true.
about to do this.
That's
So
very true.
I mean, that's what it sounded like. She just like done. Like 5 years a long time to go through this same problem.
To be trying to listen, if you cook every day or almost every day and you are
Right.
the primary person in the kitchen
Mhm.
and you are always needing something out of a jar,
Right.
I can understand how she could be frustrated to the point of like, F all of this, I quit.
Right.
But on the flip side, like, I can see both sides of it. But on the flip side, like you said, figure out a solution, because
Mhm.
obviously he's not the solution.
Because at this point, and we want to play dirty. Oh, you want to
I knew
tighten
this was
jars?
coming.
You want to tighten jars? You ain't getting no food, cuz you gonna be hungry. You better go get some McDonald's.
Right,
And this what we doing. You can starve, bruh.
right.
Feed the kids.
Yeah. And be
And be
out.
And I don't think he want to play that game.
I'm sure he does. Well, I'm sure he does it just
It
because
depends if her food good.
maybe that's it.
Maybe he doing it because he don't like her food and don't want to tell her. Oh,
Ma'am, you can't cook. And he don't want you to open the jars no more because
first of all,
because he did say the jars at his house weren't tightened. It was only when they moved in together that he started over tightening the jars. Yeah, you need to take a cooking course.
You need to get some bars.
Hello. Oh, because you know what? Now that I think about it, hot pepper paste. Raise your hand if you got hot pepper paste.
I ain't got no. No, ma'am. I don't know what that is. Mm-mm.
And she said mango puree. Like, what kind of?
Is it like a jelly or for like toast?
She said he could either put it on his toast or put it in his oatmeal. Is he eating baby food now? Like, the last time I put some fruit in some oatmeal, my son was 8 months old. And I was putting peaches in his oatmeal, so he would eat the oatmeal. So it's
chopped up fruit maybe, but not like
yeah. No, she said puree. So it's maybe that's it. I think we figured it out.
Maybe she like super sensitive about her food.
maybe, or maybe she has like some type of you know how people with allergies eat differently, and maybe he just
Oh,
wants some regular food.
oh, that would piss me off.
Like maybe she's like a gluten allergy or something, and she got to buy a specific thing, and he like f all this food, and it's his way of just like clearing the
He like,
shelf.
just don't touch the food. Don't touch it.
I don't want none of this no more.
Don't touch the food. Just don't.
Or maybe she eat his stuff. Like maybe he buys stuff specifically for him. Like maybe he got like a favorite pickle, and then he come and get his pickles, and they be gone because she ate them. And he like, I'll show you. I'm gonna tighten the hell out this jar. And you'll never get another pickle.
Like he trying to
again.
keep the food, all the food to himself.
Yeah. I don't
But I mean, why would he tighten up the ones that they don't ever eat?
Because he got pissed because his pickles kept coming up this.
Eddie.
And he like, I'll show you.
Right.
Just like we'll show you. You ain't getting no dinner. He like, I'll show you. You won't be able to open a jar of this boy ever again.
Dang, what if she said that? What if he was like, all right, yeah, it's her food. He don't like her food.
It's gotta be.
Right, you ain't getting no more food. Okay, so
that's all right too.
Look at God, changing things.
Have you ever been in a situation where you were dating someone and they did something like it was just one thing that you just could not get over or get past?
I think I was honest in the situation. I think I was honestly doing something to provoke or attract this type of energy, I guess.
Okay.
Because it followed me in a few relationships.
Okay.
So my issue was how my significant other's mother would talk to me and deal with me.
Uh-huh.
It was always the most. It was like I always felt like a competition. Like it was always the most in the most disrespectful ways.
So you were attracting mama boys.
Yeah.
And their mamas was coming for you.
Yeah. And then it wasn't like, oh, it's because you're not speaking up for yourself. Because when I would speak up, it was like, don't talk about my mama. Like that's my mama. Like super duper mama's boys.
How many times did this happen?
Like 3 or 4 times.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I just seemed to attract people like that. I want to say probably to like maybe my late teenhood.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like, I'm a teenager, I wasn't doing nothing disrespectful. I was very respectful, spoke when I would come in the house,
Yeah.
Really, and it just
was never good enough.
It was never good enough.
Yeah.
I never saw you dating somebody like that. Like what? What's wrong?
Right.
Just like stuff like that. I just seem to attract that. So I don't know. I kind of think it was maybe something that attracted that type of guy.
Mm-hmm. I think for me it was the self-centered person.
Oh.
Like when you're trying to have a conversation back and forth, and then they just be like, me, like they will completely change the subject and the context of your conversation.
Yeah.
To then make sure that they are back the subject of the conversation.
Okay.
That was my college experience.
Wait, like, so y'all date and you have an issue you bring to the table?
No issue. We're literally just talking about like you know how when you first start dating people, you have like the word vomit conversations.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about your background.
Yeah.
How'd you grow up?
Right.
Who were your parents? And that kind of stuff. And he and the individual would, be like, so, what's your relationship like with your mom? And I would be like, oh, my relationship, that's good because my relationship with my mom. And it's like, dang, I didn't finish my sentence. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or, like, what was, how was, because, I grew up in the church. And I'm like, what was your church like? Like, oh, our youth department, because our youth department was trying. And it's like,
So you feel like
I don't want to talk to you.
They had the negative side.
It wasn't just negative.
It was just everything.
Let me talk.
Right.
Like, yeah. And it was I always found somebody who was like self-centered in the fact where it's like they were asking questions for the sake of asking questions, not because they wanted to know the answer.
They wanted to.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they were opening a door of conversation because they really wanted you to ask them the question. And so it was a segue, which is, it's fine depending on what's going on. Like if you feel like you need to tell somebody something, then I would understand the technique. But at the same time, you're not learning anything about me because you're cutting me off to tell your story. And so after, I don't know if you know this about me, but after I realize that this conversation cannot happen, I go silent. Like if I'm trying to get a word in edgewise and I figure out that I'm not going to be able to, I'll be like, oh, okay. Tell me more.
I don't think I've ever seen that side of you.
So what? And then I'll just turn into Oprah. I will interview the hell out of you. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, so what are we doing? Oh,
how is that?
How? Yes, exactly. So how did you overcome that? Like, because I don't want to talk no more.
I think I would catch on to that if
you would not when you're talking to somebody self-centered. They never catch up. They're like, oh, she wants to know everything about me.
I'll look at you. What are you doing right now? What is this? Why?
But that's because you know me. You know what I'm saying? Like they'd be like, oh, she's just so inquisitive and she cares about me. And it's like, but I also realize that you don't care about me. So we can go ahead and stop.
Like I care about you. Tell me more about what you think about me.
Exactly. That was exactly the perspective. Is they were like, tell me how you feel about me. And as long as you were like talking to them like, oh, I just love spending time with you, and you're just so amazing and blah blah blah, then it was like, oh, tell me more. But then as soon as it would be like, man, I'm having a rough day today. Yeah, my day was rough too. Like,
right.
Well, tell me about your day. What was going on? And then and then they tell, and oh, well, you were saying so. Oh, I was saying something. I don't even want to talk no more. I don't even want to. My day wasn't that bad, and actually, I was just trying to find something to talk about, and I'm over it. So
change my mind.
Change my mind. So finally, what would we recommend to this lady? Is she getting? This is a tough one, actually. Do you think she should file for divorce? Or do you think she should go to therapy? Or do you think she should just find new jars? Like, what is the final recommendation to, and I'm not trying to be funny, but this lady got to be white because she got hot pepper paste in her.
and mango puree. I don't know. I feel like she should get therapy and do some reverse psychology stuff.
Do you think she needs therapy?
I think they need couples therapy.
But do you think she needs individual therapy? Because she also said she thought she was having a heart attack. She almost called an ambulance. And then she decided that dying on her kitchen floor was a better option.
Well, you got to realize when you are internalizing for 5 years,
that's
the
true.
Same thing. You don't have nobody to vent to because from the sound of it, it's not a whole lot of people saying, girl, what you feel is substantiated. It's just, oh, you crazy. It's not that deep.
Yeah.
Like, so 5 years of saying, let me keep this to myself. I don't want anybody to think something wrong with me. Like, imagine that. Like, that's a lot of bottling up and taking and keeping your mouth shut and dealing with it on your own. So it got to come out somewhere. You're human,
But letting yourself die on the floor is where it come out at. Like we don't feel like that's unhealthy.
I don't think she would.
I don't know. She sounded like she was at the end of herself.
Because when you didn't gave up on yourself, you don't care about getting a divorce. It's just like let it just run its course.
Yeah, I feel like the emotions behind the situation. I feel like she was validated and feeling like she was crazy because nobody was like noticing what was going on, but also like being like, I'm just gonna slit my wrist and let them bleed. Like that's also kind of weird. That's a extreme reaction to the scenario, in my opinion.
I think giving them an ultimatum too. Ultimatum, get different jars, and reverse just everything. Every time you do something, oh babe, thanks so much. I appreciate you.
Do you think he has a need to be needed?
That's what I think it is.
Okay.
So I think if she feeds into that and just show him how much he's appreciated a little bit more than what she's already doing, I think it'll make a world of difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a time where you felt like you were over internalizing items or things?
Absolutely.
Tell us about a time.
Um, I I think I always have kind of been that person from time to time
To internalize.
to internalize a few things, and then I guess because I've been with my husband for so long, he'll like call me out on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going on? And then I'll tell him like, oh, I felt X, Y, and Z several weeks ago. He's like, and then he'll tell me, you don't have to do that with me.
Right.
And even after all this time, he still it's a trauma.
How long y'all been together?
We've been together 14 years.
Jesus.
14 years going on 15. And even with all that time, it's because it's not just relationships I've been in. It's been friendships and family and things like that where I feel like, oh, my voice isn't as important.
Mm-hmm.
So while I do have a big voice and I use it often, for some people I won't. I'm very hesitant about it, and I'm working on it.
I am the same way. Like in certain scenarios, especially as like a project manager at work, like it's like, oh, you're doing this wrong and it's very wrong and you're getting on my nerve. And I'm very vocal about it. But like for whatever reason, I actually know the reason. Inside of my home, I'm not as vocal. Well, I used to be not as vocal. I'm starting to kind of get there. But I think it was because I always in my mind, I put conflict with failure. I don't know why.
Tell me about that.
So in relationships, it's like when y'all start having to have difficult conversations and y'all start fighting and y'all start having issues, then it means that your marriage is failing or your relationship is failing. And I have a fear of failure.
Yeah.
And so because those are the relationships that matter most to me, I was avoiding the conflict because I didn't want to fail at it. You know what I mean? And so now obviously that I'm older, I realize that's not right.
Yeah.
But when you have 20 years of habits that are made, you know what I'm saying? I've been in relationships since I was 18. Then now how do I undo the practice of being silent or not addressing things or internalizing things to always believe that if I say something, it's going to be a fight.
Right.
Instead of maybe if I say something, it's just going to be a conversation and a solution will come out of it. Or, you know, maybe if I say something, it will be a fight, but the fight is needed in order to kind of get over the hump and get an alternative solution. You know, where me, it was like if we fighting or if he feel a certain type of way, then that's going to it was all or nothing in my head. Like if we fighting, he gonna leave.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to leave. So
and when you got that type of background where people just walk away and give up and like I mean
it's the rejection of it, you know. Yeah. So that's a very tough lesson though, I will say.
It takes time to learn to make it because it's a lifestyle, really.
It is.
You know, you gotta change your whole lifestyle.
It is. And then like trying to play like conflict is such a dance to do. You know what I mean? Like because a lot of times, especially when you talk to the older generation, you know, they tell you pick your battles.
Right.
And so I feel like the older generation, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, you know, based off of, you know, your experience. But I feel like older generations, they just took more and they let more stuff kind of slide off their back.
Yeah.
And they taught us to do the same, right? So it was always like grandma telling you, like, honey, leave that alone. And, you know, he a man, let him have that, or, you know, whatever. And then, but I really feel a certain type of way about that. And I really want to talk about it. But the wisdom in your life is telling you, don't touch that.
Right.
That's not for you to touch. And if you touch it, that's a hot stove and you're going to get burned.
Right.
And so then you get conditioned to, okay, well, I'm going to leave that part alone.
Right.
Or I'm not going to do this. And then you look up and it's like, well, I probably should have said a lot more about this stuff a long time ago. you know, because I married a different type of husband, you know, like my husband is not the husband of the 50s,
Yeah.
you know, but then also like I'm doing myself a service because you might not have felt a certain type of way about that in
Mhm.
your marriage, but that's just it's what may be something that'll slide off your back may be a non-negotiable for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it's tough.
It is. It's like you said, it's a rabbit hole because you got to address a whole lot of other spaces. Like I said, like internalizing because you want the friendship or
Mhm.
with sister, bro, or friend to last and not be a failed relationship.
Yeah.
But it also goes back to, okay, because I made that choice and I no longer make those choices. Now I'm confronted with forgiving myself for making those choices.
Oh yeah.
And that's where I like constantly I have like a kind of like an outburst feeling where I have to address like, okay, let me forgive myself for that. Like I'm a totally different person now than I was then.
Yeah.
And I really, really wanted this friendship to work. And I attracted several unhealthy relationships with friends because no one ever taught me how to be a good friend.
Right.
So because of that, I was a bad friend to other people and allowed people to be a bad friend to me.
Yeah.
So giving myself grace
Yeah.
in those areas, like you have to do so much work.
You have to
in
do
that area.
adulting is so much
It
work.
is so hard.
Even just on the emotional side,
Mhm.
because even like when you said that, it made me think of like okay, so when I was a kid, I was very much into like my life is going to be like this, and this,
Yeah.
right? And so it was like I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna graduate, and then I'm gonna have this type of career, and I'm gonna go into this line of work, and I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna get married, and then I'm gonna have kids, and
Mhm.
I'm at a big house with a white picket fence, and I literally had it like down to the very small intricacies,
Yeah.
and not that my life overall has not taken that route. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
I got the husband and the kids in the house and all that stuff, but it didn't happen. Like I feel like sometimes I didn't fulfill the vision for myself because it didn't happen the way it did.
Mhm.
And I really got stuck somewhere around like 34, 35.
Yeah.
And like that those couple years was really a exercise of me forgiving myself
Yeah.
for the things that I felt like I owed to the visionary me,
Mhm.
because I had this vision about what I knew that I wanted my life to be. And then I looked up 20 years, 15 years later and was like, that didn't happen. So what do I do with that? You know what I mean? And again, not to say that I have a bad life,
Yeah.
but it wasn't the life that I dreamt for myself. And so then it's like, well, are we going the route of, Lord, this must have happened for a reason, and I just pray that I'm on the right route and I'll accept whatever you gave me because my plans are not your plans and my ways are not your ways? Or do you go the route of like the original vision that I had is what God put in me, and now I'm not fulfilling my purpose because I didn't do what I had willed myself to do when I was the 18-year-old me.
Yeah.
And I need like I sat in that crossroad
Yeah.
for like 2 years.
Sometimes if you do some digging, you'll find that the dream while it may not have been realized the way you thought it would be, that what actually happened is better.
Yeah.
Because it's always easy to say, oh, that grass look real green from over
Mhm.
there. But if you really do some digging
It's
and
actual stuff.
think about what right and see what come along with it, you
Yeah.
like, okay, well, it's not, but I got
Yeah.
something way better than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So yeah, it was a very telling time.
yeah.
But I got through it, and I did go the path of, listen, whether God had intended for me this for me, there's a perfect will, there's a permissible will. I may not have made the perfect will, but maybe I'm in the permissible, and that's okay.
Mhm.
And then going back to the scripture of he all things work together for the good of that love the Lord according to His purpose. It's got to work for my good at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna shut up and let however the rest of my life is supposed to unfold.
Well, it's good to talk, in my opinion. It's good to talk about those dreams that weren't realized because then when you come back to what's the real and what's actually happening, to me, it makes you appreciate it so much more.
Yeah.
Because while you're like, dang, I said I want to go back and get my doctorate and do X, Y, and Z, and it just didn't happen. Like, who's to say going back to get your doctorate would have changed, made all of these big changes just because you wanted them to? Like,
right.
It could have stood in the way of something so much greater.
Yeah.
You know.
And the people that I've met and became friends with, and got to see along the way, if that original plan had come to fruition, I would have lost big pieces of my life that I had gained in this journey.
And been a totally different person.
Made a different mom, a different wife, a different daughter. And maybe that wasn't what was set out for me. So, but I still have big dreams, and maybe they'll be realized, maybe they won't be, but yeah, I feel like God gives you the dream for a reason.
He does.
So, yeah. Well, this was a good episode.
I agree.
How'd you like your first time being here?
I had a wonderful time.
Fantastic.
Yes, I did.
And that's a wrap. Finally Heard, family. So, as always, feel free to send us your questions, comments, concerns, your stories, your testimonies, any of that about your Black Sheep experiences. We would love to incorporate you guys' stories into the show, into the Sheep Happens segment. If you have questions that you want to ask our podcast audience or ourselves, you want us to talk about live on the air, you can feel free to even be anonymous. And we will go ahead and discuss your topic on the air. So feel free to reach out to us. As always, if you would like to become a sponsor, you can submit those requests also to admin at Finally Heard. That's HERD, finallyheard.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe at Finally Heard on all social media outlets. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We are on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcast, Apple Podcast, wherever you can find a podcast. And we need your numbers. We need your help. Please. So please continue to support. And as always, every week is a roller coaster of laughs, wisdom, and unexpected surprises.
Yes.
Because here's one surprise. Hey, girl. So you don't want to miss an episode. So make sure you tune in, share this, and invite a friend or two, because we will have new episodes dropping all summer. And as always, we want to thank you for listening to the Finally Heard podcast. I'm your girl E.
And it's your girl Mom.
And we are the ones that he came back for. Until next time, guys. See you later.